Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So let's proceed with the continued topic of excretory system. The kidney is composed of an enormous number of minute tubules called the nephron or the kidney tubules. These are the structural as well as the functional units of the kidney and are also known as uriniferous tubule or renal tubules. Each kidney tubule or nephron has the following parts. The Bowman's capsule, which is a thin-walled single-cell epithelium cup shaped somewhat like a hollow ball pressed deep on one side. We'll talk about Bowman's capsule later on in the slides. This Bowman's capsule runs into proximal or the first convoluted tubule or PCT, which means it is nearer to the Bowman's capsule. Now both the Bowman's capsule and the proximal convoluted tubule lie in the cortex part of the kidney. The PCT then runs into the middle U-shaped part which is known as loop of Henle. It is shaped like a hairpin but it is not convoluted. The loop of Henle runs in the medulla part of the kidney which then runs into the next convoluted region known as the distal convoluted tubule or the DCT. This DCT lies in the cortex region of the kidney. The DCT then opens into collecting duct. This collecting duct receives the contents of many such kidney tubules and pours it as urine in the pelvis of the kidney. Let's talk about how blood is supplied to the kidney tubules. A pair of renal arteries branch off from the dorsal aorta and enters the respective kidneys as shown in the figure. Each renal artery branches and rebranches many a times, giving rise to arterioles. Each such arteriole then enters the Bowman's capsule under the name of afferent arteriole. Afferent means to bring to. This afferent arteriole, as shown in the figure, then breaks into a number of capillaries forming that knot-like mass called the glomerulus, which fits inside the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus together are called Malpighian capsule or simply renal capsule. The reuniting capillaries of this glomerulus then forms what is known as efferent arteriole. Efferent means to carry away. The efferent arteriole then comes out of the Bowman's capsule, runs a short distance and then breaks into secondary capillary network surrounding the renal tubule and then rejoins to form a vein. By uniting again and again and with other veins of the kidney, it ultimately forms the renal vein, leaving the kidney to pour the blood into the posterior vena cava, which is discussed in the other chapter of circulatory system. Formation of urine occurs in two major steps. Ultrafiltration of the liquid part of the blood out of the glomerulus into the renal tubule under extreme high pressure, and selective reabsorption of usable substances such as glucose, sodium, water from the glomerular filtrate. The efferent or the outgoing arteriole is narrower than the afferent or the incoming arteriole. This causes the blood to flow under great pressure through the glomerulus. Now, almost all of the liquid part of the blood filters out from the glomerulus into the renal tubule through the process of ultrafiltration. During this process, almost all the liquid part of the blood comes out through the glomerulus and passes to the renal tubule, which consists of water, urea, salts and other plasma solutes. The thicker part of the blood is left behind in the glomerulus after the ultrafiltration and is carried forward through the efferent arteriole. This consists of some blood corpuscles, proteins and other molecules, and therefore the blood which moves away from the glomerulus is relatively thicker. Now the second process, which is selective reabsorption, in this the glomerular filtrate which enters the renal tubule after the ultrafiltration process is not urine. This is an extremely dilute solution which has a lot of usable materials like glucose, some salts such as sodium. Now, as the filtrate passes down the renal tubule, much of the water is again absorbed together with some usable substances. But the reabsorption takes place in such a way that the concentration of the blood is not disturbed. Therefore, this process is known as selective reabsorption. But also certain substances like potassium and a large number of foreign chemicals like drugs, penicillin are passed into the forming urine in the distal convoluted tubule. This passage involves the activity of the tubular wall cells. It is called as tubular secretion. The filtrate left after reabsorption and tubular secretion is called urine. After the urine has been formed, the final urine passes into collecting ducts to the pelvis and through the ureter into the urinary bladder due to gravity. From the urinary bladder, the urine is expelled through the urethra by the relaxation of the sphincter muscles. The sphincter muscles located at the opening of the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder, the urine then passes into the urethra under the impulse of the nervous system. Such a process is called micturition. The normal human urine consists of about 95% of water and 5% of solid waste. The solid waste may vary according to the food taken, and these are approximately are as follows. The inorganic constituents are sodium chloride, potassium chloride, ammonia, with sodium chloride being the maximum, and the organic constituents are urea, creatinine, uric acid, with urea being the maximum. Urine also has some abnormal constituents present in it like blood cells and glucose. The production of urine or the urine output is regulated by the hormone called the antidiuretic hormone, which is secreted by the pituitary gland. If the secretion of ADH is reduced, there is an increased production in the urine. This condition is called diuresis. There are substances that increase the formation of urine and they are called diuretics, for example, liquid diets, tea, coffee, alcohol, etc. Thank you so much for watching and listening.